Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making ooey gooey sticky buns. Sticky buns is something I've been making for many years and I've had some requests, so here we go. This is what we're going to be doing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to proof our yeast, which I have already done. So I have like a teaspoon of sugar and I have about a tablespoon of yeast and a half a cup of warm water. And you can tell by the yeast that it's starting to foam up. So we're going to put this in our bowl. And to that, I have already on the stove mixed in a small pot. I've mixed a half a cup of canned milk. I like canned milk. It's got a nice rich taste, so that's what I use. I use a half a cup of canned milk, a quarter cup of sugar, and a quarter cup of butter. All right, and I've melted that. You just want the butter to melt, so we're going to add that too. Alright, to that I'm going to start, this is 4 cups of flour. I'm just going to start adding a little bit of flour here. Get the flour in my hands. And a teaspoon of salt. Always make sure you put your salt in. We're just going to start mixing a little bit. And we also have 2 slightly beaten eggs that we're going to add. All right, now I'm going to be adding the rest of this flour, or most of it anyway. I like to hand mix my bread. You can do it in a mixer, that will do the work for you. But I just feel it's a little more rewarding when you do it for yourself. So anyway, I'm just going to keep on mixing this for a while. And once you get your dough all mixed up, it's starting to get a little thicker. Yeah, I'm going to still add a little bit more flour here. You got to put your back into it. Make sure you get it mixed up pretty good here. And when it's a nice soft dough, there we go. I've still probably got about 3/4 of a cup of flour here. I'm going to put it right on my counter. And I'm going to turn this dough out. Make sure you get all of it. It's nice and sticky, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going to just start taking what flour you have left. Bring the flour up front and push it down with the palm of your hand, or this part of your hand. And you're just going to work what rest of the flour you have into your dough. And you want to incorporate all the flour that's here into it. So I'm going to continue kneading this for a few minutes. Alright, I've been kneading about 5 minutes. I'm just working all of that flour that's on my counter into my dough. You want it to be a nice, smooth ball, something that doesn't stick to your hands. There. And that's what it should look like. Kneading is so cathartic for me. If you have any problems, you just take it out on your dough. Just beat it to pieces. But it's good. Alright, so there we go. We got our dough and it's ready to go in our bowl. See, I'm still using my old dirty bowl, but that doesn't matter. All you need to do is add a little oil to it. And then you're going to put it in. Cover it up with a little oil there. And then get your dish towel or whatever you want to cover it with. You're just going to cover it. You're going to put it in a warm place until it's doubled. I will probably let it double for approximately about 1 hour. Okay? Okay, at this point my dough is still rising, so it's soon time going to be done for that. But right now I'm going to make my the sticky part of the cinnamon buns. And I'm going to be mixing 3/4 of a cup of butter, and I'm melting it in the pot right now. And to that, I'm going to be adding 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Now, what we want right now is for that sugar to melt into the butter. And you want to cook it long enough until the sugar is dissolved with the butter and then it's all well mixed. I also like to add just a little bit of salt. Just a little bit of salt. And then we're just going to mix this together. You want the butter to be incorporated into the brown sugar too. Have it all mixed really well together. This should take just a couple of minutes. The butter's almost melted. Good. Okay, I've been stirring my sauce for about between 2 to 4 minutes, starting to bubble up a little bit, so I'm going to turn the heat off. You want to make sure that you continue to stir until all the butter is incorporated in with the brown sugar. You don't want to see a pool of butter sitting on the top. Make sure it's all together. And I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons just of whipping cream. It doesn't need to be whipped or anything, just there. This just adds another element of flavor to the sauce. And stir this again. Okay. There. That's nice, thick and gooey. Yum. And it smells delicious. Okay. So we are going to move this over here. I'm going to bring my greased 9x13 pan. And my dough it's risen. You can look and see it has puffed up, and you can tell you put a finger in it and the fingerprint stays in there. So we know that's ready to go. So just going to put that on the cupboard. All right. That's ready to go. But before I do that, I'm going to pour my sauce into the 9x13 pan. There. Make sure, just shake it around, make sure that there's a little bit of sauce on the whole bottom. And I have some chopped up pecans here. You can use up to a cup, it just depends upon what you want. I have about 1/3 of a cup. I don't like a lot of pecans, but I like a little bit of a crunch. So I'm going to just spread those around in my pan. All right, so I have rolled out my dough, and it's about 12 or 13 inches this way, and it's about 20, 21 inches this way. Okay, you want to make a nice rectangle. And then to that, I have melted butter. It's about 1/4 cup of butter. And we're just going to start putting that on. You don't want to do the outside edges. Leave about like a 1/2 inch the whole way around. I'm just going to pour that in there. Get painting with my butter. Can never have too much butter. And another good thing about these cinnamon rolls that make it so good is I have used butter in every aspect. Butter just makes a better taste. Maybe a few more calories or whatever, but it's worth it. If you're going to have a snack, enjoy it. All right. There we go. There. I'll probably use about half of that right there. Might add a little bit extra in a minute. Yeah, let's just slather it on there. It's good. Okay. All right. Now I've got 3/4 cup of brown sugar and a good 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. I love cinnamon, and so I've mixed it up by hand so it's nice and crumbly. And we're just going to start adding it here, there, and everywhere. Try to keep that border free of butter and cinnamon. Okay, I'll just pour the rest on there. Just going to smooth it around. There. Oop. A little bit more down there. Okay, there. Nice matte brown sugar and cinnamon. Oh, I got a little bit of butter there. Let's just drill around. Don't want to waste it. Just drizzle it around. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to start here, and you're going to start rolling tightly. Just work your way across like this. A nice tight roll, and eventually you can just roll it along. There. Okay. There we go. Now I like to pinch it along the seam here a little bit. You don't want any of that cinnamon and butter and all that oozing out. You are going to get some of that anyway, but that's okay. All right, so there we go. Now remember we had that border on the edge, so we're going to get rid of that. And how I like to cut my cinnamon rolls is with a piece of thread. This way the rolls are not getting squished and it makes for great cutting. So I'm just going to cut off my ends, because you just want to make sure you get, see there's not a lot of cinnamon and sugar in there. So we're going to cut that end off there and cut that end off there. We'll get rid of that. Now you need to make 12 rolls. So I like to eyeball it and go right in the middle, and I'm going to cut it in half. There's your first half. And we're going to cut this in half again. And this in half again. All right, so we're going to need to get 12, so I'm going to get 3 out of each of these. So we got 1, there's 3. You can see how quickly using thread just zips right through and right neat. I love it. And one less thing to wash too. There, okay. Now we got our rolls all cut. And my thread is gone. All right, we're just going to put these right into your baking dish. Oh yeah, they look good already. They're not even cooked. They're nice, tight cinnamon rolls. They're going to be nice. Most likely, the people I work with are going to benefit from these rolls today. All right, here we go. There. Now, they're all done. And so I'm going to cover them again, and I'm going to let them raise for at least an hour. Just depends upon how big you want your rolls too. So 1 hour, and then we're going to put them in the oven. All right, the cinnamon rolls have finished rising. They were rising for about an hour and 15 minutes, and so I had preheated my oven to 375 degrees. And I'm going to put it in the oven for between 20 and 30 minutes. I will check them at 20 minutes just to make sure that they are cooked. I don't want them to be overcooked. I find sometimes ovens are different, but I will check mine at 20 minutes. So in the oven they go. All right, 20 minutes. Okay. The oven timer's just gone up, and my cinnamon rolls are ready, and I've just taken them out. And this is what they look like. I put it in for 20 minutes. So at 20 minutes, they were done. So I'm just going to kind of loosen them around the pan here. That caramel sauce is just bubbling away. Smells really good in this kitchen right now. Nice and cinnamony. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to invert them. Okay. Wish me luck. Here we go. All right. Ooh, caramel's coming out from the sides. Look at that. Oh! Oh my goodness. Look at those. Oh yes. And that's what you want to see. Right there. That is what you want to see. Nice and shiny and gooey on the top. That's the perfect cinnamon roll. Anyway, someone's going to enjoy these today, I'm sure. Anyway, I hope you try my recipe sometime. Thanks for watching.